Hi everyone, welcome to another Business Book Club blog. And this time around, I've been reading Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, I really wanted to read this book because I know quite a few people have read it and they rave about it and they keep bringing it up in meetings and conversations I've been having. I also want to instill some new habits in myself as well. I'm learning to speak Irish, I'm learning to play the bodhrán. There are exercise habits I want to pick up, and I'm really struggling to get them into a routine. So, could this book help me start new habits and, more importantly, maintain them? A bit about the book itself, if you've not come across it before, it's by James Clear. His idea is that you can uh, create new habits by making incremental progress and strive to get a little bit better each day. And also by changing the way you think about your habits. If you make them more desirable, you're more likely to stick to them. And he's got some great tips for that. So, what are some of the key learnings of this book? Well, first of all, the importance of identity. I'm really pleased this was covered. I think when people set goals, they quite often think about the big outcome. If they're really good, they think about the why. But the deepest level is to think about who you are. And James Clear gives the example of two smokers. Imagine you offer someone a cigarette, and one person says, "No, thanks, I'm trying to quit." And the other person says, "Thanks, but I'm no longer a smoker." Who do you think is going to be more successful? Identity is really important. You got to think about the kind of person you want to be, not just the outcomes you want as well. At the beginning of the book, James Clear breaks down how habits work, and he describes the formation of habits as going like this. So first of all, you get a cue. So for example, you are walking down the street and you see a donut shop. For example, that's your cue as you're walking down the road towards your office, you spot this shop. The second one is the craving. So you then smell the donuts as you walk past and you crave a donut. The third bit is you have a response. So you buy the donut and you eat it. And finally, the reward. You get the donut, you get the sugar hit, and you get the satisfaction of meeting that craving. This then, you then start to associate walking to your office, walking past the shop with buying a donut. And if you repeat this over time, it becomes a habit. So, what can we do to take advantage of this knowledge, and what can we do to break the habits we don't want? Well, James Clear introduces his 4 laws of behaviour change, and it's these. The first one is make it obvious. The second one is make it attractive. The third one is make it easy. And the fourth one is make it satisfying. And of course, you can use the inverse of these to make a bad habit undesirable as well. But let's take a look at the 4 laws. First of all, he says, make it obvious. So this is addressing the cue stage of forming a habit. You need to know when to do the habit. Now, this was really useful for me because I'm really good at setting goals. I'm really good at knowing the why, but I'm not very good at the detail of the action planning. So if I haven't decided when and where a habit is going to take place, I make time and space to do the activity, but I spend half that time working out where my resources are, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to approach it. And by the time I've done that, I've wasted a load of mental energy and a lot of time that I was supposed to be doing my activity. James Clear says a study shows that if people say what the cue is, so when am I going to do this thing, where am I going to do it, and at what time am I going to do it, or under what conditions, you're more likely to be successful. So, for example, if you say, when I come back from my lunch break, I'll spend 10 minutes on Duolingo, that's a good example. Or I will study Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. every evening in my study. That would be another example. So don't just set the goal, be really clear on what the cue, how do you know it's time to do your goal? Where will you do it? When will you do it? How long will you do it for? Once the mental effort of making that decision has been made, you're more likely to stick to the habit. In fact, Clear goes further. He says habit stacking. If you can stack a habit to an existing habit, then you're more likely to be successful. So, for example, if you say, I'll do some calf raiser exercises when I'm brushing my teeth. So the cue is when I brush my teeth, I'll do my calf raises or I'll do my stretching. So stack habits, you can stack as many as you like. The inverse of this, of course, is to make something invisible. So if you want to bring something in to make a cue to tell you when to do it, make it harder to do things or remove the cue to engage in bad habits. So, for example, if you don't want to be distracted by your phone, put it in another room and then that cue to pick it up and browse will go away. The second law is make it attractive. So James Clear explains the dopamine feedback loop here, and he explains the way that these cravings come to light. And here he suggests that you make the new habit attractive. And one way he suggests doing this is to use temptation bundling. So to link something you want to do to something that you need to do. So for example, if you want to watch YouTube videos but you've got work to do, you might decide, when I get back from my lunch break, I will call 3 of my clients. After I call 3 of my clients, I will watch a video. Or if you want to watch a bit of Netflix or something like that, you go, right, well, when I'm on the running machine at the gym, I'll stick my phone on and watch the videos. And then, that's my time. I can do it. So you're linking something you want to do to something you have to do. And again, this can make it more appealing. You can tap into the appeal of the thing you have to do or regularly do to make your habit more appealing. He also says the role of other people can really help here as well. So get yourself in the right environment and surround yourself by like-minded people where your good habit is the norm. The inverse of this is making it unattractive as well. So focus on the downsides of any bad habits, focus on the consequences, and see if you can find a better way to meet the same underlying need. So make it unattractive, add in more steps, and create more friction to the things that you don't want to do. The third law is make it easy. And here Clear suggests doing action, not being in motion. He says if he wants to write a blog and he writes 20 blog outlines, that's him being in motion. He's doing something. But if he writes an article, that's an action. And actions produce outcomes, and it's the outcomes we're looking for. It's better to get started and to do something than to do lots of planning or procrastination. So if you want to master a habit, start with repetition, not perfection. And another tip he gives here is the 2-minute rule. And this is my favorite one in the book. He says, don't aim to do the whole task, just choose one small first step. And he gives the example of a dancer, and her habit that she formed was just simply getting up, getting dressed in her gym clothes, and getting the taxi to the gym each day. That was it. Just getting dressed and getting the taxi. Once she was at the gym, it was much easier to get into her workout. So a similar sort of thing, he suggests if you want to be a reader, just aim to read 1 page every day. And once you've got into the habit of reading 1 page every day, it's easier to decide to do more reading. This works for a few reasons. One, it is better to get started. You can't achieve mastery until you've mastered the art of showing up. Secondly, it reinforces your identity. So if you're going to the gym every day, even if you do 10 minutes, you are without doubt a gym goer, someone who goes to the gym. And when you reinforce the identity, you're more likely to keep up your habits. So I like the 2-minute rule. Sometimes I set big stretching goals and I get overwhelmed with the possibilities and the different ways I can do something. And I've decided that just to set myself the goal of showing up in the first instance, and I can always go bigger from there. The inversion of this law is to make it difficult, of course. So again, you could use commitment devices or to come up with an accountability buddy. So if you commit to doing something publicly or you commit to doing something with a friend, and then that way, if you don't do it, if you don't show up, then of course there's awkwardness and more difficulty with admitting that. So it makes it undesirable for you to break the chain and stop doing it. You could also automate habits as well. So you could set up a savings scheme or join a company pension scheme where the money automatically comes out of your account. And of course, you'd have to go to extra steps in order to stop that money coming out. So you're less likely to spend it. So you're making difficulty the opposite of making it attractive. And finally, make it satisfying. And this addresses the reward aspect of how habits are formed. And of course, this increases the odds that the behavior is going to be repeated. We're more likely to repeat a habit if it's satisfying. So think about how to reward yourself. Here, James Clear explains that rewards need to be immediate. Our brains are hardwired to seek immediate gratification and avoid immediate discomfort. So quite often when we set a goal to eat healthily, we're thinking about our future selves. When we set a goal to study hard, we're thinking about future exam success. But your brain wants the immediate emotional reward. So find a way to reward yourself each time you do the habit and make it immediate. If you go out for a run, allow yourself to have a nice bath. If you like attention and clicks and likes, post your run on Strava or post it on Facebook and get that attention off people. And so you get that pat on the back you need in the moment. If you want to save for a holiday, put some money in a savings account or jar, and you can physically see the money going in every time you choose not to spend it on takeaway. So this idea of tracking your habits, seeing progress day by day by day, making it visible, getting some sense of satisfaction on a regular, immediate basis is more likely to sustain the momentum. The inverse of this, of course, is making it unsatisfying. So if what gets rewarded gets repeated, what gets punished will be avoided. So again, make sure your negative consequences are felt immediately for this. So make it painful for you not to do it. There are some advanced tactics in the book. I really love the fact that towards the end you've got your advanced tactics, and there's a lovely chapter called Little Lessons from the Four Laws, and there's just lots of pearls of wisdom or little nuggets which just really nicely sum up some of the key messages from the book. There are loads. There's a really nice bit in here about strengths and suggesting that you play to your strengths. Now, I'm a strengths coach, and one of the things I know about this is that we're just hardwired to do certain things. Some strengths just come to you naturally. So there's a bit in there about picking the right goals, picking the things that come to you easily, picking the things that energize you, and picking those habits to develop. And I really like the way it taps into your identity and your strength. There's also a bit in there that addresses the issue of your genes versus your hard work, and how to keep yourself motivated, and how our brains work in that area as well. The final thing I really like about the book is there are extra chapters available online, or if you join James Clear's newsletter, and there's additional tips on business, parenting, and how to apply the habit forming in other domains as well. So I feel like it's not just a book, it's a valuable resource. So overall, what did I think with the book, and was it useful? Yeah, absolutely. This is one of my favourite personal development books I've read in a while, and I don't say that lightly. It's not just the content, although the content is good, but it's the way the book is structured and the supporting resources that are available too. A lot of business books are written to be workshops with exercises in, but most people I know just read them, they don't do the exercises. This one doesn't have exercises as such, but at the end of each chapter, there is a summary with all the key points from the chapter, and then the way that the chapters are organised with the summaries at the end. It's really logical, really easy to follow, it all builds on each other, and then it's really easy to go back to and refer to long after you've read it. And for me, this makes the book really actionable. So in terms of this, I think it's really, really useful. In terms of my habits, I'm learning to play the Bowron. I have put it just behind me by my desk so that if every time I walk in the room I see it, it's so much easier to just practice for 10 minutes. So instead of looking at my phone, I can look at the Bowron. And I've started to think about the small habits, just showing up and doing something every day to get the momentum behind the habit. And I know once I get started, I'm going to be much more successful. So it has changed my thinking on my own habits. And I'm looking forward to really sitting down, using the resources in the book to create a plan. If you do go onto James Clear's website, there is a document, a download you can do. And if you sign up for like the 30-day Atomic Habits sort of program or newsletter, day by day he gives you a different action, and I've already got that downloaded on my Remarkable. So again, really actionable and easy to do. So there you go, a bit of a whistle-stop tour. There's so much value from the book, it's too much to get into one video or one blog, but it's definitely worth the read, whether you want to use it for business or you just want to use it in your personal life. If you just want to start something quite simple or you've got big goals, it doesn't really matter. It'll be value there for you, and it's definitely worth a read. If you've read the book, let me know what you think. If you've got any questions about anything that I've read or taken from the book, please feel free to use the comments. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you've enjoyed the book if you've read it, and hopefully I'll hear from you soon.